You ever have that creeping feeling that maybe, just maybe, you're losing your mind? Not in the fun, creative aha way, but in that slow, sneaky, what was I thinking kind of way. Maybe it started with a little comment that felt off, a memory that suddenly didn't match what someone else insists is true, or a simple argument where you ended up apologizing and you're not even sure why. Maybe it's you, maybe it's someone you know. Welcome to the subtle, shadowy world of gaslighting, a psychological trick so smooth you won't even notice you're being manipulated until your own confidence starts to wobble. Gaslighting isn't dramatic in the obvious movie-style sense. It doesn't always involve shouting or obvious lies. Often, it's quiet, insidious, almost polite. But it chips away at your perception of reality, your self-trust, and eventually, if left unchecked, your peace of mind. So how do you know if it's happening to you? How do you spot someone who's using these dark psychological tactics, hiding behind charm, logic, or casual indifference? Let's break it down. Imagine this. You remember clearly that your friends said they'd meet you at 6 p.m. You're waiting, texting, glancing at your watch, and they stroll in at 7:15 with a casual, "What's your problem? I told you 6:30. Suddenly, you're doubting yourself. Did you mishear? Did you imagine it? That small twist of reality, this tiny, seemingly harmless denial is classic gaslighting. It's not just about lying, it's about making you question your own memory, judgment, and even sanity. The first type you might encounter is what I like to call the twister of truths. This is the friend, partner, or coworker who constantly rewrites reality. They'll deny things they said minutes ago, insist you remembered events wrong, or tell you that your emotional response is too sensitive or overreacting. Psychologically, they rely on confusion as a tool. When you doubt yourself, you become more dependent on them. They're not just controlling facts, they're controlling your confidence. Ask yourself, have you ever found yourself apologizing for something you're 100% sure wasn't your fault? That's the twister at work. Then there's the charm assassin. At first glance, they're magnetic, witty, even comforting. You think, wow, what a great person. But beneath that charm is a subtle undermining. They compliment you just enough to keep you hooked, then undercut you so gently that it feels like maybe it's you. You misheard, overreacted, or misunderstood. Here's the psychological trick. The emotional highs and lows create dependency. When your confidence dips after their sly comments, you crave their approval again. It's like a roller coaster that feels exciting but leaves you queasy, and they're holding the safety bar. Reflect for a moment. Do you ever leave conversations feeling drained, insecure, or unsure of your own instincts around someone who seems so nice? That's the hallmark of the charm assassin. Next up, meet the projection artist. This one is fascinating because it's sneaky in a psychological disguise. If they're constantly accusing you of lying, cheating, or being manipulative, chances are they're projecting their own behavior onto you. Instead of owning their flaws, they assign them to you, and your mind does what it always does, tries to reconcile reality. The twist is that your brain is wired to trust patterns. So when someone insists something is your fault, even if it feels wrong, you start questioning your own judgment. Ever notice yourself thinking, am I really the one overreacting? That's projection at play, nudging you into self-doubt while keeping their own guilt perfectly shielded. But here's the twist. Gaslighting isn't always overt. There's a quiet, almost invisible type I call the silent sculptor. They don't argue with you or project. They withdraw, ignore, or give you the cold shoulder in response to disagreement. The psychological effect is subtle but devastating. Absence and indifference become a weapon. You start obsessing over what you did wrong, ruminating endlessly, seeking approval that never comes. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting only your insecurities back at you. Maybe it's a partner who goes silent after minor conflicts, or a coworker who never answers emails unless you bend over backward. If you find yourself overthinking, doubting your self-worth, or apologizing unnecessarily in response to silence, congratulations, you've met the silent sculptor. And finally, there's the gaslight ghost. This is the one who combines multiple tactics, the subtle denials, the charm, the projection, the withdrawal. They're unpredictable, and that unpredictability is the secret weapon. When you try to anticipate their next move, your mind starts second-guessing everything. They thrive in chaos, not dramatic chaos, but the internal chaos of your own mind. The gaslight ghost is especially dangerous because they blend so seamlessly into everyday life. You might not even notice the manipulation until patterns emerge, like small self-doubts multiplying over time. Have you ever felt inexplicably anxious or unsure around someone, even if they seem fine? That creeping uncertainty often signals the presence of a gaslight ghost. So, what's happening inside your brain when you encounter these personalities? At the core, gaslighting exploits trust, memory, and social bonds. Humans are wired to seek harmony and to rely on others for cues about reality. When someone systematically destabilizes that trust, your mind starts second-guessing your senses. Emotional manipulation becomes internalized as self-doubt. The more you question yourself, the more you rely on the gaslighter, and the cycle continues. It's elegant in its cruelty, a psychological trap disguised as everyday interactions. Here's the good news. Awareness is the antidote. The moment you recognize patterns, when you notice yourself apologizing unnecessarily, doubting memories, or feeling drained after interactions, you've already gained power. The first step is labeling the behavior: twister, charm assassin, projection artist, silent sculptor, or gaslight ghost. Names give clarity. Once you name it, you can set boundaries, document your experiences, and reclaim your perspective. Even small actions, jotting down events, asking trusted friends for validation, or mentally rehearsing conversations reinforce your grip on reality. Reflect for a moment. How often do you trust your gut? How often do you question your own memory after talking to someone else? The goal isn't to see everyone as a manipulator, but to notice when patterns consistently leave you insecure or uncertain. Dark psychology thrives on invisibility, but light in the form of awareness and reflection dissolves its grip. So here's the takeaway. Gaslighting isn't about grand betrayals or dramatic confrontations. It's about small, persistent manipulations that twist perception, erode confidence, and make you question yourself. Recognizing these signs, the denials of the twister, the highs and lows of the charm assassin, the shifting blame of the projection artist, the cold absence of the silent sculptor, and the unpredictable chaos of the gaslight ghost is your first step toward regaining clarity. Think about the people in your life. Who triggers self-doubt? Who makes you second-guess your memory, emotions, or decisions? Not everyone is a gaslighter, of course, but patterns matter. Awareness is the first defense, and boundaries are the second. Protect your perception of reality as fiercely as you protect your phone, your bank account, or your favorite coffee mug, because your mind deserves that same care. And here's my parting thought. Which of these types resonates with someone you know? How does this land for you? The subtle distortions, the emotional manipulations, the quiet psychological games. Notice the patterns, name them, and reclaim your mind. Because no one should make you doubt yourself, not for a laugh, not for attention, and certainly not in the shadowy art of gaslighting. If this resonates, stick around. There's a whole world of dark psychology to explore, from subtle manipulation tactics to the invisible ways people shape behavior around them. And maybe, just maybe, understanding these patterns will help you spot them before they take hold, or even prevent yourself from unconsciously using them on others. Because at the end of the day, self-awareness is your superpower, and the best defense against being gaslit is simply knowing the game is being played. If you like this video, make sure to like the video. Also, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any update. Also, share it with your friends.